Hello, so we're going to be doing a hand model of the brain. So we'll start with our hand. So you're going to bend your thumb in and curl your fingers over, and it's going to look like this, basically just a fist. And this is the point of view if it were to just be sitting in my head, right here like this. So keep my thumbs like this way, and it's sitting right here in my head if I were to look this way. So just like that. So the first piece we have right here is our thumb, and that is the limbic area. This is known as our emotional brain. So this is responsible for our emotional reactions, the way we feel about things, our feelings, things like that. So that's right here. And then we have our palm and the beginning of our wrist area right here, and this represents the brain stem. So the brain stem is the oldest part of the brain. It's also known as the reptile brain because this portion of the brain actually evolved before mammals did. So this portion of the brain right here, the brain stem, is responsible for our fight or flight region. I believe the video also said fight, flight, or faint, but I have never heard that before. But basically when we're in feelings of danger and stress, and we have feelings of fight or flight or faint, that's going to be controlled by this little area right here. Anyway, next piece we have is the frontal cortex. So like I said, our thumb is put here. We pull them over. This is our frontal cortex right here, this big top part of the brain. And this is the informational part of the brain. So it takes in the senses, our sights, our sounds, our tastes. It's what's responsible for me to know that my fan is moving right now and that I'm filming a video, because that is what I am perceiving. It's what the information that I am perceiving. And that's coming from the frontal cortex, which is this area right here. Right down here, we have the prefrontal cortex. This is the logical, rational brain. So your logical reactions, your rationality, the little voice in your head that's telling you, hey, this might not be a good idea, or what tells you yes and no with things and things like that. So that's going to be your prefrontal cortex, which is right here. Basically how the brain works is all of these things are going to talk together. So they're all speaking, they're all touching, and they're all talking, and these signals are getting sent from one another. So the prefrontal cortex is going to be rationalizing the feelings that you are getting from the thumb, which is your limbic area, and all of that is going to be deciding on your reaction, which is going to be decided in your fight or flight, which is going to be in your brain stem. So it's all these types of things, and it's all talking together, and that is what creates the brain in all of its beauty. So they all talk through the spinal cord, which is going to be this area right here down my wrist. Pardon, I have a hair tie, but right down my wrist here. This is going to be the brain stem, or sorry, not the brain stem, I'm sorry, the spinal cord. And this goes down our spine, and this communicates to the neurons, which are cells that communicate with the spinal cord throughout our body. So the neurons receive a stimuli, and it transfers into the spinal cord, and it sends the message around. The message is received, a new message is sent out, and it sends out through again to do it in the exact same way. And it's this nice little system that comes and goes, and that's how our impulses go. If there were to be any dysregulation, any trauma, anything that would make the brain systems not all work properly, that's what creates feelings like anxiety and depression, and not trauma, but just the way the brain forms, like learning disabilities like ADHD and things like that. All of that is controlled in the brain, and that's when all of these functions, when something isn't working quite the way it's supposed to, that creates many different conditions, that can create many different ways that people think and people are. There's a lot of diversity in how people's brains work, but that is the fundamental part if your brain were to be right there with the hand model. Thanks.